Hello everybody and welcome back to Crypto Simplified. Apologies in advance for all that noise outside. There's construction work all around me and unfortunately it's completely unavoidable. I'll try to speak louder than normal just to make sure you hear everything. Having said that, thank you all for your support, for the likes, the shares, the comments. We have hit 350 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. Please do not be alarmed by the fuddy title. It is used for dramatic effect. And all it's saying is, we've seen this before, guys. We've seen this market go down. We have seen this happen before. You trust your judgment. If you're new to cryptocurrency, don't worry. Keep holding. Because if you try to sell off, you do not know where the bottom is. You might be one of the unluckiest people in the world who sells at the bottom and then from there, everything changes. Yes, theoretically, if you sell an asset while it's still got value, you can buy back in when the price drops. But that's only theoretical. Timing the bottom and timing the top, they're impossible to do. You might get lucky once or twice, but all you can do is hope that you can locate the bottom or top and try to anticipate movement there. That's all you can do. So from the perspective of not trying to compound losses, I'm not selling anything. I've hodled everything. I have bought new positions, but I am not planning on selling it because I do believe what cryptocurrency is aiming to do on a much larger global scale. So let's have a look at the market then. And again, it doesn't look very good. Double-digit losses all over the park. We had gone just under 300 billion US dollars. Looks like we're back up. Okay, that is just a tiny improvement. Doesn't really matter that much, because there is still so much red in this market. Have we hit the bottom? Well, we won't know if we hit the bottom unless we actually go on and gain further momentum. So, like I said from my last video, find a hobby, you guys. Just take up a hobby, read, watch series, play some music, go out for a walk. The outside is pretty nice right now, especially if you live in India. I don't know about everywhere else in the world, but it's nice and overcast. You can go for a very pleasant walk. Just leave the markets alone. The markets aren't going anywhere. If you've invested in your positions, just leave your cash put. Not an investment advisor, but history has shown that people who stay put when the markets have a downturn are often best placed to enjoy the benefits of it later. So do not let irrationality cloud your judgment here. You have reasoned yourself into these positions. Do not jump ship just because of a tiny blip. As I said, this has happened before. I shall put this link in the description. But there have been losses of up to 88% in this market. Ethereum dropped 88% in 2015. And then it smashed on for all-time highs. This market is cyclical. This market is small. And that is why volatility is such a big deal. Later on in this video, I'll be talking about how cryptocurrency is not the only thing affected by a down market. Global stocks are in bad shape as well. I'll get to that a little later. But let's stick to the crypto now. And speaking of, this is a great post just talking about the market in the bigger picture. So it's been gilded several times, and that is because of the sheer level of value that it can bring to people. So I highly recommend you look at it. It starts off with a bit of sustainability, and then it goes into deep crypto stuff. And it's just helping you understand this market, because what we need to remember is the tech can be great. Absolutely great. But it's the perception of these assets by the people buying or selling them that affects the price. So this post talks about how the irrationality of people in the market can push the price up or down immensely. So I won't explain the whole thing to you. That's just the gist of this post. You'll not be worse off by reading this. It talks about opinions, it talks about market forces, and it talks about all these things that you may not have considered while trading. You might be doing your research in the project, in the team and all that, but there are these other macro forces that you've got to understand and be at peace with if you really want to play in this market. And now, let's have a look at Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin has plummeted, but I have drawn this little blue support/resistance line over here. I see this as a key figure just above the 6,000 USD mark because it intercepts the curve at a few places and very close to peaks and troughs. That is just my line in the sand about this. So based on nothing but looking at the charts, it can easily go down further. It can shoot right back up. No one actually knows, and the whole economic system right now is in a bit of a bear market. The whole system. I shall put the link in the description so you can read up on the opinions of all these experts as to what's actually happening, who's to blame. Thing is there anyone to blame for this? Is there any one person? No. These markets are affected by a collective output. Yes, you can have individuals trying to do things. You can have very high net worth individuals trying to do things. But at the end of the day, what this is group thinking. If the group is pessimistic, the prices go down. If the group is optimistic, it goes up. And of course, you've got greed and fear fueling these things as well. So it's a very complex market, and I think it's simplistic to just point at one or two parts or happenings or events or quotes to actually try and definitively say what's happening. So it's much, much more complicated than that. So all you can try and do is ride these waves, and when the waves subside a little bit, do your research. Up the research that you're going to be doing. Just improve your knowledge for when this market goes up again so you can make the right decisions off the cuff. That's basically what I've been doing in this market, just doing as much reading as possible. So looking closer to home, India has not had the nicest time in this market as well. 75 billion US dollars lost from the Indian market. Yes, the percentages are vastly different. Cryptocurrency has faced a huge loss from the all-time high, going on over 50%, 60%. Of course, the valuations and the percentage changes are totally different because the Indian stock market is a much more mature market than cryptocurrency. So the percentages are lower, but that doesn't mean the effects are any less. These are a lot of people who've put a lot of money into the market being affected by things out of their control. So it's just a time for us to be a little bit more sensitive. Doesn't seem that anyone in the financial industries, be them alternative finance like crypto or mainstream finance, are having a good time. So let's just all get together, have a few drinks, and just let this bear market pass by us, and then we can get back involved. So people, stay calm. Don't need to make any snap judgments, snap reactions. Do not have any fire sales. We don't need that. That's just going to add further confusion to this market. If you believe in what you've invested in, same thing applies with stocks. You only invest in companies you believe in. If you believe in the project, the vision, the team, you can always stick by it, especially if you've invested money that you are okay with losing. You can afford to lose the money you've invested. Just sit on it. It's fine. But yes, I can understand why you might feel that you want to book out some profit now while you still can. That's obviously your decision to make. I'm not an investment advisor. I'm playing it safe. I'm keeping my money in this market. So next up, the SEC in the United States has spoken about possibilities of regulating cryptocurrencies, and this is overwhelmingly positive. This is a PDF of their statement that they will be presenting. And I'll just read out the highlighted paragraph. To be clear, I am very optimistic that developments in financial technology will help facilitate capital formation, providing promising investment opportunities for institutional and mainstream investors alike. From a financial regulatory perspective, these developments may enable us to better monitor transactions, holdings, and obligations, including credit exposures and other activities and characteristics of our markets, thereby facilitating our regulatory mission, including, importantly, investor protection. This is absolutely great. We have expressed problems with the ICO framework because there doesn't seem to be much access for US investors there. So once the SEC manages to get this stuff under wraps, the ICO market could become much, much, much more lucrative. This could be the shot off steroids that sends this market going completely stratospheric. And since it's coming at the lowest point that we've had since November, this could really, really help us. Unfortunately, after this memo was released, the market dipped a little bit further, but maybe now people are catching up with the news and maybe we could see a recovery. We have reason to be optimistic. Unfortunately, the market isn't showing that. Like in yesterday's video as well, I spoke about how this market is not reflecting the positive movements that are happening outside of price action. So it's really good to see this sort of stuff. And lastly, and finally, let's just end this video on something positive. It turns out that it's more profitable to have solar panels on a field than growing tobacco. We always believed that solar energy would come in and it would be a game changer because we have so much sun hitting the surface of the earth that isn't really used that much. And then you got to ask yourself the question, do we need any more cigarettes, any more carcinogenic things going around the planet? No, not really. And if we can actually get rid of that negative and replace it with an overwhelming positive, I think the future is looking really bright, people. Market is down, but that doesn't change what I think that we're doing over here. We are creating a fantastic future and we're making life more sustainable on several fronts, not just cryptocurrency. And that's exactly why I want to talk about this. It's very easy to get lost in all this down market, the hustle and bustle of all these double-digit reds in cryptocurrency. It's very easy to do that. But what you need to remember is that this world is so vast, so expansive. There's development happening everywhere. Everywhere. We don't have enough hours in a day to talk about the multitude of developments happening all over the world that are trying to make people's lives better. So, people, don't let this market pull you down. If you're invested in stocks and cryptocurrency, don't let these blips affect you. Just remember that things are better and things will keep getting better. So, on that note, you guys have a fantastic rest of the day. You take care, stay positive, and we will catch up very soon. Later.
Slow-mo, cold eyes, average Joe draws his hood close and reposts all the yo's. Retaliatory Sally empties his gut and rallies, takes another step into the shadow of the valley. He's trying to get his mind tightened, spends days scheming on striding with the titans. Indefatigable, unbeatable, but what he's dark stalking for seems unreachable.